Hello, my name is Thane and I like to experiment with all kinds of AI technologies. But Midjourney is my favorite because it just fascinates me and what the possibilities are for the future. So in the meantime, while we wait for our holodeck, I have been experimenting with all kinds of visual things. So this video will be the fourth one in the series of what do simple things look like if they were made of materials they are not usually made of. And for this video I have picked some really unusual materials that are actually not even materials. You can see the links to the previous videos in the description if you would like to check those out as well, and there you can also find the link to my website's post where I have listed all of the prompts used in this video. The formula for the prompts is still the same as in the last videos, and I normally use really simple prompts for basically everything. First comes the subject, which is either book, forest, man or skyscraper for this video. Made of material. Then followed by a fixed seed and number, sometimes style raw, aspect, ratio 9:16 and version 6.0. Let's go. Beads of dew. First off in alphabetical is beads of dew. I was really surprised by how this impacted the results. We do see beads of dew and occasionally just beads. But it's pretty regardless. Raw style looks slightly more realistic, at least with the forest, because it's the most real of these scenarios. Really interesting and strange results. Clouds. Also very difficult to combine with regular things, but I think Midjourney has done a relatively good job. The results are quite interesting. The books for raw style are the most impactful, I think. Forests for raw style seem like regular forests that are high up in the mountains. Fog. Now this one just happened to be next alphabetically, but it's really similar to clouds. Yet it has slight changes. I really like the man images with this combination. For the raw style as well, man images are the best. But I like the one book that looks like it's vaporizing. Also, it's interesting that the skyscrapers with clouds were looking down from a higher viewpoint, and fog skyscrapers are a perspective from below. Icicles. Not simply just ice, but icicles. It has a really interesting aesthetic. Forests look pretty much like a frozen forest, the man images are truly interesting, and skyscrapers look like ice sculptures. I really have the feeling about the raw style that it looks like the photos everyone takes on their smartphone. Sometimes nice, other times just a snap of a random thing or subject. Jelly. Suddenly blobs of color. It's different from some of the so-called materials on this list because things can actually be made from this. But probably not all of these. Books look especially nice. There is one with jellyfish encased in jelly. And slightly different looking stuff with raw style. Books are still my favorites, but the forests look nice as well. Lightning. Now back to things that could not exist. I do see a slight change in the style of the images. I think we moved to fantasy territory with this one. But I love that there is such a variation in colors for these. Raw style seems to be slightly more realistic if a concept like this can be called realistic. I really like the man images for this one. Moonlight. This is a really difficult concept to visualize. So Midjourney seems to bring in moons that cast light. Not sure if any of the subjects look like they were made of moonlight. Except the lower right or fourth image of the skyscraper grid, that actually looks kind of ethereal and glowing as if the moon was projecting it to that spot. Many moons here as well. But my absolute favorite image for a long time is the moon with a man's body, the lower right or fourth image in the man grid. It just looks somehow epic. Rainbows. I know I have had this one or something similar in my videos recently, but I just wanted to try this one out. It is really resulting in colorful stuff as one would expect. Other than that, I don't know if this brings that much uniqueness to the images. The books look kind of nice. but I guess it is just something that is really difficult to portray as a material. Shadows. From the entire spectrum of light to lack of it. One would expect this to be equally bland, but for some reason, I really like some of these images. The top 2 book images, and basically all the images of the man grid. Raw style is a little bit creepier. These are okay, but I don't think they are anything that amazing. Default style did this better. Icicles. Another wintry theme. Snowflakes just look so pretty. I think I like the lower left or third image of the forest grid the most. It kind of looks like a paper cutout greeting card with snowflakes. As pretty as snowflakes are, they don't seem to improve these images that much. I think I like the lower right or fourth image of the man grid the most out of these. To my surprise, there is not one snowman in any of the man grid images. Snowmen are actually made out of snowflakes. So why no snowmen? Stardust. We will get to stars in a moment, but let's first look at stardust. This seems to add some shiny spots to the images, something between stars and fireflies. I actually like the raw style images more. Most of all the blue forest, that is the third image of the forest grid, and the fourth image of the man grid. Stars. Really similar, but in a sense totally different. Less dust and more shiny dots that look like stars. I especially like the entire man grid basically. I love how these have turned out. And although similar, I did prefer the default style more. These are not bad by any means, they are just lacking some of the magic. Sunlight. Sun is also a star, but combining the light our sun produces, it results in totally different looking images filled with light. The man images are the best out of these again. That one guy in the lower right or fourth image of the man grid is really like the sun in the shape of a man. Yet again, no big differences in raw style. But this time I also like the lower right or fourth image in the man grid the most, but it looks totally different than it did with the default style. Water. Although water is a material or substance we have in abundance, it's pretty difficult to imagine something that could be made of water. Yet water can take on basically any shape, as long as it's held together in that shape by something. Raw style seems to be doing this better. We get a few man and a few skyscraper images that look like the subject is made out of water and is holding the shape on their own. Wind. And let's kick it up a notch for the final so-called material. I doubt anyone has ever actually seen wind, yet these images look exactly what comes to mind when thinking about the shapes wind could make. It is really a tendency for raw style to look similar and slightly worse than default style. But again, we do have some really interesting looking skyscraper designs. So these were the 15 so-called materials that I thought would be really unusual. Of course, there is plenty more things to try out, and probably some things that produce really amazing images when combined. These were just a bunch that I tested and liked. Of course, not everything looks totally amazing, and I have a feeling that even my opinions change from day to day. When I prompted for some of these styles, they originally looked totally amazing to me. But as I started to analyze them further, I kind of didn't think they were that amazing anymore as in the beginning. Have you had that happen to you? Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of these and if you got any inspiration for your prompting journey from these. If you would like to stick around for more visual experiments like this, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I thank you so much for watching, and let's continue prompting.